This tutorial is about how to add a text box to your Word document. That's the main focus here, but before we actually get into the steps of doing that, it's important to sort of set the stage properly, because a lot of times people want to rush straight into clicking things and then they get confused and then they come back later and say, why didn't it work? And usually it's not that the instructions were wrong, it's that the preparation wasn't there. So I'd rather spend a little more time than you might expect just talking about what a text box is, what Word is, what computers are like in general, and then we'll get to the bottom uh, of adding a text box. So I guess the text box, what is it? A text box, as like the name suggests, is a box. That that part's pretty simple. But then inside the box you can put text. You could also technically leave it empty, which would then make it just a box, but that kind of defeats the purpose. Most people put words in it. The interesting thing is that the words inside the box don't follow the same rules of like the rest of the words in the document. They're contained. They don't spill out into the rest of your paragraphs. They're like fenced in a way. Some people like might find that comforting. Like, okay, I know exactly where these words are. They won't move unless I move them. Um, Personally, I sometimes think it's a little bit isolating, like the words are trapped, but that's probably overthinking it, but I think it's still worth acknowledging. Now, before you even get into Word, make sure that your computer's turned on. This may sound like unnecessary, but I once spent an entire morning staring at um, a black monitor thinking my Word had crashed, only to realize the machine wasn't like even running. That was kind of a strange morning. I remember like thinking I don't hear the fan noise, but I still just kept waiting. Don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Press the power button if it's off. Make sure it's plugged in. If nothing happens, press the power button if it's off. Make sure it's like plugged in if nothing happens. You'd be surprised how often it's just the plug. Once your computer's on, make sure it actually has Microsoft Word installed. Um, if it doesn't, you can't really follow this tutorial. I mean, you could like watch it for fun, but it wouldn't really be practical. It's like reading instructions on how to water a plant. Um, when you don't own a plant or even a watering can. Not impossible to watch, but like not very applicable to like your life. If you're not sure if you like whether you have Word, just check your start menu. Just check your start menu or applications folder. I guess it kind of depends what computer you're on or like where you installed it to. But usually it's the blue like icon with the white W. If you click it and something opens that looks like a blank page with a ruler at the top, then like you're in the right place. Now you'll need a document. It can be blank or it can already have words in it. Either one's like fine. If you don't have one, you can just make a new one by clicking new document. Sometimes I make new documents just to like test things. I have quite a lot of them saved now, like test document 43 or fun experiment 7. I don't really know why I keep them, but I do. I guess part of me kind of feels bad deleting them, even though they don't contain anything useful. Um, but maybe one day, like I guess I could look back at them and see some kind of pattern. Anyway, when your document is open, um, it's this one with the white W. it should look like this. You might have like a white background, but sometimes, depending on your settings, it might be grey. Um, Now that you have your document open, take a look at the ribbon at the top um, of the window. That's the strip with all the tabs. You'll need it later on. Um, if you don't see it, don't panic. Sometimes it hides itself. Like you just need to click on one of the you just need to click on one of the tabs. But it shows you all the buttons that you can press. Just move your mouse up near the top and it should appear. Like if it doesn't, click one of the tabs, like insert. Um, if even that doesn't work, like I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe like restart Word or just the computer. Honestly, like restarting fixes more things than it should when you think about it. Like it's almost suspicious how often turning something off and on again works. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Just as a reminder. Well, now that that's done, um, what I guess now we're at this stage, it's also worth checking your mouse and keyboard. So move your mouse around. Did the cursor move? Good. That's good. Press some keys. Did that work? Did some letters appear? Good. If either of those don't work, then you're in trouble. Because without a mouse or keyboard, it's kind of difficult to follow tutorials. I mean, technically you could plug in like a touch screen or maybe use like speech to text, but that's kind of outside the scope of this guide. Now, about text boxes specifically, they're not permanent. This is good to know in advance because if you add one and then you decide that you don't like it, you can just delete it. There's no harm done. I want to stress that because I know some people hesitate before trying new features, like worried they might break something, but you can't break Word by adding a text box. At least I don't think you can. I've never heard of that happening. I suppose if something went very, very wrong, like it's possible but not likely, I guess worst case scenario, you just delete it or you close the document without saving. There's always that option. Though it can be dangerous if you had like other changes you wanted to keep. I personally once lost like about 2 hours worth of work because I closed without saving. So I don't recommend it, but the point is you're kind of safe to experiment here. Oh, one last thing before we move on. When we talk about adding a text box, we're going to be going into the Insert tab in Word, this one. It's usually right next to Home. It says Insert. Just take a second to find it. Just don't like look at it. Like don't click it just yet. Like just look at it. Don't click it. Just observe, because that way when the time comes, you won't be like scrambling around. Just know it's there. So anyway, just to recap, I guess, make sure your computer's on. Make sure that Word is installed. Open a document. It can be blank or it can have words in it already. That's you know, it's your choice. Confirm that your ribbon is visible. like this. Remember that text boxes can be deleted and locate the insert tab. Just don't click it yet. Once all this is done, and I know it seems like a lot, but trust me, it's all going to make the actual like the steps to in the next bit easier because you'll be ready for the next part of the tutorial. You have like a bit of background, but we'll begin the process of actually inserting the text box itself. I guess like now that that's all sorted and you know where the insert tab is, you might be thinking like, okay, click it and we'll put in the text box. And like, yes, like that's the next step. But before we do that, there's one more thing I want to cover because it's going to save you some trouble later on. So basically, you can zoom in your text box. This isn't working. I guess if you go view, and you zoom, this isn't working. What you can do is press Control, and then your mouse has a wheel that rolls on the mouse. There's like various different wheels on the mouse that you can use. But if you press Control on your keyboard, which is CTRL, if you push that down and keep it held down and then turn that wheel, you'll zoom in and out. This kind of, I guess, how it actually affects how comfortable you feel when you're like working. Like if your zoom's too far out, then like everything will look really small. And when you add your text box, you might struggle to see exactly like where it landed or what the writing says. And like that's if you have writing in the text box. But on the other hand, if you zoomed way in, then the box might appear bigger than it really is, and you'll end up disappointed when you zoom back out. It can kind of be like disorientating. But like once I spent a full 10 minutes thinking I had created the world's largest text box, but then I realized it was zoomed in at 300%, and if anything, it was a humbling experience. So yeah, you can just glance down at the bottom right corner. There's a plus and a minus sign. It should work for you. It just didn't work for me. Just make sure that your page looks comfortable. It's not like a scientific measurement, but obviously it's kind of more about what feels right to you. Like for me, 100% works most of the time, but you might like 120% or you might like 90% if your eyesight's kind of particularly sharp. But the key is that you feel ready, and if your eyes are squinting, that's a sign to zoom in. If you can't see the whole page without scrolling, maybe zoom out again. But you know, this isn't required for inserting a text box, but it's one of those like quality of life steps that makes everything a bit smoother. Everything a bit smoother. Um, everything a bit smoother. Now, with the zoom taken care of, let's just talk briefly about your cursor. Your cursor is like the white arrow that's moving around, and you use it to click and decide where to point on your computer. But if you see here where it's flashing, that means where the text goes. You see, that's where the text goes. And normally when you insert a text box, the cursor's position in the document doesn't really matter. It'll just insert wherever you tell it. But I think it's still a good habit to check where it is, because sometimes you can lose your cursor, and that's really uh, frustrating when it happens. And I guess I don't know why I just feel a bit uneasy typing into a document without knowing exactly where my cursor is. Sometimes it ends up in the middle of a word and you don't even realize until you've typed the whole sentence and split something like document into docu and meant. To just click somewhere safe, like at the end of a paragraph or on a blank part of the page, um, just so that your cursor isn't stranded somewhere weird. That way, even though it doesn't technically matter, you'll feel more in control when you finally add the text box. Um, and now finally, well, almost finally, like we've come to the big moment to actually insert the text box. Um, I do want to talk about the insert tab itself, just for clarity. The word insert means to like place something into something else. So in this case, like into your document, you're uh, placing a text box into your document. So the tab contains like lots of different insertable things, like pictures, shapes, icons. Um, I guess like there's shapes and charts, headers, and of course text boxes as well. Think of it like a little shop and you walk in and you have a bunch of options for what to put into your next page. It's good to have a general awareness of what else is in there because one day you might find yourself saying, "Hey, I wonder how you add this table," and you already know the tab to click. But don't worry, we're not going to get distracted by all the other buttons today. We're staying pretty focused. We're making good time. Um, so just to recap one final time, because I don't want anyone feeling lost at this stage. Um, so ensure that your computer's on. Microsoft Word is open with a document visible. The ribbon is showing, of course, here. And there you go. Mouse and keyboard are functioning. We've already performed those tasks, so we won't need to repeat them. You know where the insert tab is. Your zoom level feels comfortable, and your cursor is in a safe place. Okay, I'm going to put it over here. Um, with all that done, we can almost add the text box. And I know it feels like we've been kind of circling around for a while, but trust me, it's better to take off smoothly than to rush and crash. So in this next part, we're going to add a text box um, and kind of talk maybe about the different types of text boxes that Word offers. But because it's not just one single option, it's more like a menu, like the text box menus inside the insert menu. It's like a menu inside a menu. Um, Now, when it comes to text boxes, Word doesn't just give you one option. No, it gives you several. Almost like it's a restaurant menu, and you have to pick which dish you want to order. So there's a simple plain text box, which is basically just the rectangle that you can type in. Um, so if we open this up, and here is your shop. So like a simple, it's just a square. It's it's just a rectangle that you can type in. And that's kind of the one that most people use. That's the kind of default setting. But then there's like fancier ones with borders and colors, shading, sometimes like some pre-styled text inside. Like type your quote here, uh, and you can just type whatever you want inside a text box that's already styled for you. They're supposed to make things easier, but sometimes I feel a bit judged by them, if that makes sense. Like the box is impatiently waiting for me to type something profound. Um, if you're indecisive, the number of choices can be a bit overwhelming, but you might start asking yourself questions like, do I really need a shadow effect? Or what does it say about me as a person if I pick a beveled edge? Um, but here's the thing, like whichever one you pick, it's still a text box. You can always change it later. You're not locked into your first choice forever. I think that's important in life in general, actually, just not with Word. Like people talk a lot about decisions being permanent, but honestly, most of them aren't. You can undo and you can backspace. You can delete the whole thing and start again. The only thing you really can't undo is time, I guess. It kind of reminds me of like the summer I spent trying to train a squirrel to take peanuts from my hand. That's gone now. The squirrel's probably gone too. And maybe that's for the best, but it started looking at me in a way that kind of made me uncomfortable. Like it knew things about me I hadn't told anyone. Um, anyway, the point is text boxes are flexible. Um, so anyway, to add a text box, just press insert, press text box, and then just write whatever you want in it. And then you can just drag it and there. Um, and if you're sitting there kind of thinking, surely it can't be that easy after all this, like, well, that's what I thought too for a long time, but sometimes things really are simple. Not everything, of course, not sleep, not relationships, not like the weird noises in the walls that, happens sometimes at night. And no one seems to notice, but they are there. But yeah, text boxes, it's just that simple. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.